Welcome back to Washington Watch. My name is Joseph, back home sitting in for Tony today. Well, after a day of mixed signals from the Biden administration, the Department of Justice announced last night that they intend to appeal the federal judge's ruling that revoked the federal mask requirement on airplanes and other public transportation, but only if the CDC says that extending the measure is necessary. Now, at one point yesterday, President Biden seemed to indicate that choosing to wear a mask is now a personal decision. But later, White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki said the administration was disappointed by the judge's ruling. Joining me now to discuss this is Ken Cuccinelli. He's the former Virginia Attorney General and acting Deputy Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security, and is now leading the Election Transparency Initiative. Ken, welcome back to Washington Watch.
Yeah, it's good to be with you.
It's good to be with you. What was your reaction initially to the Florida judge's ruling on the mask mandates 2 days ago?
Well, honestly, it was like those people on the plane. Woo! But as a lawyer, it's dang about time. Unbelievable. The dichotomy with this administration will let you in with no COVID restrictions if you come in illegally. But if you're an American citizen, we're going to slap these restrictions on you. And, we're seeing it's more evident in the arena where children reside, the negative effects of mask wearing. But it has become very clear. And look, I was an original member of the coronavirus task force appointed to that by President Trump. It's become very clear pretty quickly that the masks were not helping. And in fact, as I mentioned, for children, had a lot of negative effects. So it was good to see this. The judge held them to the standard of, strangely enough, having a reason for what they were doing. Judge Mizell is an outstanding young judge, and she's going to be great for many years to come. This is the first time I think her rulings have sort of gotten on everyone's radar, but I think you're going to see more of her in years to come, as I said.
Well, this one certainly did get on everyone's radar. Now, there are legal arguments that were made. We discussed that yesterday on the show. Earlier in the last segment, we talked to Congressman Pat Fallon, who anecdotally said that on his plane, he thought 90% or so of the public was not wearing masks. And if that is representative of how the public feels about having this mandate taken away by the court, no less, is there any sense in which this could actually be good for the Biden administration politically to have these mask mandates gone and have people no longer complaining about it?
Oh, there's no question. I mean, people respond more to reality than to history. So if I've got high gas prices on election day, it hurts them a lot more than if they broke the record for high gas prices several months before. Same mentality. Even if they weren't agreeable to having this mandate gone, it does help them politically in the sense of stopping the harm on this subject. As you noted, people can still choose to wear a mask. God forbid we make our own decisions instead of the nanny state do it for us. But that's where we are now, and that's where we should have been a long time ago.
Well, despite that, the Biden administration is indicating they may appeal this decision yet. White House spokeswoman Jen Psaki, explained why. Let's play clip 4, and then I'm going to get your reaction.
And the Department of Justice, as you noted, has indicated that they would appeal, not just because they think it's entirely reasonable, of course, to have this additional time to look at it, but because they think that for current and future public health crises, we want to preserve that authority for the CDC to have in the future.
And Cuccinelli, what's your reaction to the idea that they want to appeal this just to make sure the authority remains in place for the future?
Well, we want to make sure if we feel the need to do arbitrary and capricious things in the future, that we can do it. So that's what you're hearing there. And that's the standard by which a regulatory agency fails. That's how TSA lost. What they were doing had to be arbitrary. In other words, there was no reasonable basis for it, and they couldn't present one. So when you read between the lines with Jen Psaki, they're giving CDC some time to cook up an excuse for it. But I'm telling you, I was the deputy secretary at DHS. We had our level 4 biolab, the highest level form of lab there is. By the way, the Wuhan lab is also a level 4, characterize the virus. And we know that these cotton masks will not stop the virus. I mean, we proved it in a lab. And, and that's the US government. And those are career people. That wasn't political folks heading into a level 4 biolab to come up with some narrative like you're hearing from the White House press room from Jen Psaki.
So is this the end of these mask mandates, in your opinion?
Well, not in the military, for instance. They cling to unique executive authority in the military. It remains to be seen how they respond with the federal civilian workforce. That's going to be affected by this as well. And let's keep in mind, they're appealing to the 11th Circuit. It's not the most conservative circuit, but it's pretty solid. It's not one that gets particularly liberal particularly often. So it does depend on your 3-judge draw, but the odds are this is going to be upheld. And frankly, they're taking a risk on the very same point. Let's take Jen Psaki at her word. They want to preserve the future federal authority, and that's a pretty common desire, is to preserve the authorities of your client, if you're the Department of Justice, in this case, CDC and TSA, for the future. That's a reason to appeal. But if you lose the appeal, you've enshrined what was a district court judge at the circuit court level. And the only way to overturn that is to get the Supreme Court to take the case. And they are not very likely to take this case with only one circuit coming to a conclusion. Unless and until there's a circuit split, and we're 2 years into this situation, 2.5 almost, without this issue being decided this way before, I can foresee no circuit split before everyone, even the Biden administration, agrees that this crisis is over.
Ken Cuccinelli, we hope it is, and we thank you for your time today. Thanks so much.
Good to be with you, as always.